What's going on? It's Kevin with Optimize Essentials, and today I want to come at you again with another squat assessment. And this is the last one in the series. I don't know what order you're watching it, but for me this is the last squat assessment that I'm teaching in terms of NASM squat assessment. If you haven't seen it already, I've pulled this out for most of the assessments. It's NASM's corrective exercise squat assessment form. It's great for personal trainers. It's great for people who want to know more about the biomechanics of the human body, who want to have a good foundation or just like a starting guide as to what's going on in your body. When I first saw this form, I had no idea what the fuck it was saying, alright? Like maybe I knew 2 or 3 muscles, but as I looked into it more and more, I understood, okay, this is what this muscle does, this is why it gets imbalanced. And I'm saving the best one for last, right? So today's squat assessment is going to be the asymmetrical weight shift. So what does this mean, right? Basically, asymmetry means not symmetrical. So symmetry means that they're the same, relatively the same to both sides. Humans in general aren't exactly symmetrical. We have slight degrees, varying degrees of asymmetry. So when we do our squat, what happens is if there's an asymmetrical weight shift, you might shift over to one side, and I'll be explaining to you in detail what are some of the potential causes and or muscle imbalances associated with the asymmetrical weight shift. A little bit more than what they give you here, because that may not exactly be it. So without further ado, let's get into it. So I saved this one for last because it's the one that's going to be a little bit more challenging for the individual who isn't well versed in the posture and into the functions of the muscles. This one took a while for me to understand, but now I can see it more clearly because I practiced and I observed more often as I worked with my clients. So let's use an example of a weight shift to the right. So let's say, because I see this a lot. So basically what happens when you're doing an overhead squat, I'm not going to put my hands overhead just so I can show you exactly what I'm talking about. I normally just get my clients to put their hands in front, and I can already see enough, right? So they put their hands in front and then they can shift. When they squat down, what happens? Let's say they shift to the right. So you see this right shifting over here. So you see a right shift down. So shift to the right. So really pay attention on pelvis, and I'll show you the back view as well. So the client, get them to stand with their feet shoulder width apart. You can have them put their hands up or in the front. If you want to see it better, it helps to put it in the front. So let's say they're squatting down, and then you see the shift to the right, all right? And then they come back up. Shift to the right. So what does this mean? Well, the first thing we have to understand when we come down to this position, and they're shifting to the right, we have to understand what muscles do what. So we'll take a look at the right leg first. So typically, what happens when we shift to the right leg is in just a little bit more. So the leg can be said to adduct relative to the position of the torso. So in a normal balanced squat, when you're down here, there's symmetry, right? There's equal distance between your knees, and then your body's centered right in the middle. But when there's a shift to one side, now you have to understand what's causing this shift to one side. When you shift to this one side, now if you really pay close attention, this knee is adducting inside, all right, relative to where my body is. Right here, they're both slightly abducted, but when I'm shifted to the right, now this knee is caving in slightly. So you can say that the right leg is adducting relative to where my body is, and because it's adducting, what does this mean? Well, the adductor complex, not just because the adductors, they're made of multiple parts. The adductor complex is overactive, right? It's causing your legs to internally rotate. But what I've typically found is that the adductors aren't exactly the main cause to why your knee caves in. A big factor also is the TFL, and then also is the glute medius. These muscles up in the front of the hip region are more, I would say, powerful in terms of taking that knee and causing it to adduct slightly. Because these muscles, when they're overactive from sitting and driving a lot, which I will get into, causes that pelvis to pull in to this side, all right? Why does that happen? Because when we're driving, we're only using the right side of our body, and if most of our neuroassociations come down from this side, then you can kind of guess, like if you're stunting with your right foot, or if you're doing certain movements by executing with your right torso, or you're turning with at an angle, then everything becomes associated to the right side of your body. So when you squat now, you make that association pattern, that neuroassociation, to squat down because all these muscles have been inhibited or become overactive from excessive use. So let's go back to the squat assessment. I'm getting ahead of myself. Okay, so right here, the leg is slightly adducted. When it's adducted, that means our glute medius is also underactive. So in terms of overactive under muscles, right now we know that on the side that we're shifting to, the glute medius isn't doing its job. And the adductor, well, the battery died, but I was saying, yes, the adductor is doing a lot of the work. Or it's caught, because this is so overactive, the TFL, and potentially even your quads and your vastus lateralis, all of this is causing that knee to internally rotate in a fixed position. And then because of that, the adductor could potentially become overactive as well. And now that we know that we're shifting to this side, we also have to understand, in terms of overactivity, on this side, this knee is abducted relative to our body position. So that on this side, we know that our abductors, our glute medius, is actually overactive. Now our adductor is lengthened, so shortened over here, lengthened over here. So we know that the adductor complex on this side is underactive. So overactive abductors, glute medius, and then underactive adductor complex on this side. And then overactive TFL, potentially vastus lateralis, quads, and even the soleus and gastrocnemius, because everything, you might even see a foot turn out onto this side on the weight shift. So all these muscles are overactive, and then the adductor complex is overactive as well. So if you haven't seen my videos on how to release the quads, how to release the TFL, you want to make sure you check that out, because I go into detail on how to kind of really attack these muscles so that you can fix your imbalances. Because if you have an asymmetrical weight shift, there's a very good chance that you have an elevated pelvis or a rotated pelvis, and when you go squat with that, woo, you are in big trouble. So if you haven't seen those videos, make sure you check out my channel. I'll probably link them somewhere. And you know, that's all for today. I hope that helped covered the asymmetric weight shift for any of you guys. You want to make sure you attack each one of those muscles that I noted down specifically. And if you still don't have an understanding of how it works, break it down section by section and really pay attention to what's going on. And that is all, guys. It's Kevin with Optimize Essentials. If you want a workout program that can help you, a program that can help you assess your postural imbalances and how you can stretch them out, make sure you check out my website and also check out the 4-week program, because it's really extensive and it'll help you exactly with that. All right, have a good one, guys. Peace.